Again, my name is Preston Lewis. Just kind of give you a little explanation. My wife Tanya is here with me tonight. We're expecting in May, late May, to be our first child. I'm pleased to say, though, so far, this for along the process, I've gotten the baby's room painted, we've got the furniture put together, and the baby has now attended our first tea party meeting, so I think we're off to a good start. I think we are. Josh Clausen, who I know, I've gone to several city council meetings in Maumelle. That's where he is tonight. He was unfortunately detained there with his city clerk duties at the city council meeting, and he asked me to come. He telephoned me last year. He said, I'm running for state legislature, and I'd like your support. To me, it was an automatic yes. Didn't have to think about it when he asked me, and don't regret it one moment since then, because I think one of the things that struck me right off is we started talking, and we shared some ideas. And Josh, you know, I always tried to go back to history, and I probably bored him a little bit when I talked to him, but I told him that, you know, here is a unique opportunity in Arkansas, I think, that we have with this year's upcoming election. And that's to finally slay the paper dragon, which has been the Democrat Party for the past 20, I think, years in the state. Has been, I think, on a steady decline, but we haven't capitalized on it. We haven't got that messaging, like you said. And that's been some of our own faults at times. I think it's been sometimes just a lack of maybe some vision. And the Republican Party does that from time to time. You know, we sort of hide our conservatism in the closet a little bit because we don't want to rock the boat. You know, we're people that are busy with our own lives, raising our families, working, improving our own communities, and sometimes we kind of don't live that political process like some of our friends on the other side do. And as I thought back to the history of what's worked for the Republican Party in the past on a national level that could work on a state level. And for the Republican Party, one of the biggest victories was in the 90s, 1994. And I thought about some of the things that, you know, growing up as a kid that I remember from back then. I remember Mike Huckabee, when he first got into state politics, talking about the political machine in Arkansas. And that machine has existed. It's existed for many years. It's gotten us into kind of a tricky situation with our money right now. It's got us on an uncertain path, both nationally and from a state level. Josh Clausen got that. He understood completely when I said, we need, just like the Republicans did in 1994, to nationalize an election across a country to take a majority. We need to do that on a statewide level. Now, how can one guy in one district do that? Well, he can start by representing himself strongly, but by doing that branding, by creating that message. And I asked him, I said, you know, how do you feel about if we do get that majority to do the things we need to do? Would you be willing to work with Democrats? And he kind of smiled, and he gave an answer that sort of reminded me, and I can't remember Josh's exact wording, but it sort of reminded me of the answer that I think that Phil Gramm gave back in the 90s when he was talking about after they took the majority. He said, well, the Democrats can either work with us. I'm doing that Phil Gramm voice. He said, they can either work with us or they can get by on the side and we'll wave to them as we go by on the train. And Josh felt that way. He said, we've got some things we need to do. First of all, he said, before we consider any, you know, people talk about some taxes here and there. We can start adding this in, adding that. He said, before we do any of that, let's actually take a look at the spending. Let's take a look at it line by line to see what are we doing. We talked about baseline budgeting a minute ago, with the growth that's anticipated each and every year. And we just continue to expand that umbrella. I think he knows that act of responsibility, and he's lived it being part of the city government in Maumelle. We're proud of our city government out there. We consider that we've been conservative. We've made the sacrifices we've been needing to make them. We've been responsible, but we've built a beautiful city. And Maumelle has done that. I think he would represent that well for not just the citizens of Maumelle, but also North Little Rock to make up that district. A man of service. I think that was another thing that got me when I said, absolutely, I'll support you. 4 children. This guy is busy. He's working with Little League baseball teams. He's the Boy Scouts. He's got a beautiful wife. All that while being part of a city, American Cancer Society, helping raise money for them. I don't know how he does it. I called him last night and I said, you know, what do you want me to say? And he'd been so busy, and he said, you know, just say whatever you feel like. I said, okay. So you really trust me. But it was 9:30 at night, and he was over at an insurance office that he's starting up right now as well, and working on a Sunday night. And I thought, this is dedication. This is a man that's dedicated to his community, his family, and the citizens of our district. I think that's why he'd make a great representative, and I'm happy to represent him here tonight. Thank you so much, and good luck.
Thank you.